Thank you, Sally. It's really a privilege and an honor to be here with you and Jeff and President Carter. You've in your encore career, have really redefined the presidency, the post-presidency, also the almost post-presidency in some cases, and really set a standard for everybody who's a head of state to live up to. And thanks also for reminding us of all the shoulders that we stand upon when we cause change. There's a quote by Walter Lippmann that's always stuck in my mind. It goes, the way in which the world is imagined determines at any particular moment what people will do. It's a pretty simple idea. And yet it's really difficult to imagine a world that's very hopeful if we just watch the television and read the newspapers every day. We certainly can't deny our problems, but we also can't deny our great strengths and our resilience and the courage and ingenuity that is out there in the world, and we don't see enough of it. It's been said that pessimism about human beings is one of the chief forces that maintains the status quo. But on the other hand, Oliver Wendell Holmes said that a mind once stretched will never return to its original dimension. And that's why the stories of the social entrepreneurs, I think, are so important. These stories do stretch our minds. Like the runners of the elders, they bring vital wisdom and information back and forth to people. They're also richly textured stories. Today we're celebrating a dozen individuals for qualities that are often overlooked when society anoints its leaders: courage, respect, compassion, and ethical fiber. But we're also celebrating their organizations, collections of many, many unnamed people who've often made great leaps in their lives and taken great risks to co-create these organizations, to bring them to life, to participate in them as lenders, as borrowers, as home builders, whatever function. So at the deepest level, these stories help people to see what's possible both in their own lives and in the world. There's a quote from the book The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker that captures this. After all is said and done, the only real problem of life, the only worthwhile preoccupation of man is the question, what is one's true talent, his secret gift, his authentic vocation? How can the person take his private inner being, the great mystery that he feels at the heart of himself, his emotions, his yearnings, and use them to live more distinctively, to enrich both himself and mankind with the peculiar quality of his talent? The lives and work we celebrate today help us in this challenge. They help us to reimagine the world in a way that makes each of us feel a little bit bigger, a little bit more powerful, and that helps us to trust and feel connected to one another. This is what helps us each come to know our own gifts and find our true pathways. And now I'd like to invite President Carter, Jeff Skoll, and Sally Osberg to the stage to present the Skoll Awards. Thank you. We begin this evening's program by honoring a Skoll Social Entrepreneur Award winner from 2007 who was unable to come to the forum last year. Bill Strickland, Manchester Bidwell Corporation. Bill Strickland was a struggling high school student in Pittsburgh when he met Frank Ross, who taught him about clay, introduced him to jazz and architecture, and transformed his life. Bill founded Manchester Craftsmen's Guild and later added Bidwell Training Center to encourage inner-city Pittsburgh youth and adults to develop their potential in beautiful surroundings with state-of-the-art equipment. The programs connect arts knowledge and skills with academic standards, citizenship, and life disciplines. Under the aegis of the Manchester Bidwell Corporation, facilities in Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Cincinnati, and Michigan serve more than 4,000 youths and 792 adults annually. With help from Skoll, these programs will serve individuals in at least 5 more additional communities by the year 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Strickland. Mark Plotkin, and Liliana Madrigal, Amazon Conservation Team. Mark Plotkin, an ethnobotanist, and Liliana Madrigal, a conservationist and crusader for indigenous rights, created the Amazon Conservation Team in 1996 to help preserve the Amazon rainforest and its indigenous people. ACT currently partners with 25 local tribes in Brazil, Colombia, and Suriname to protect the rainforest by using sophisticated mapping technology and by establishing legal claims. To preserve native culture, ACT establishes ethno-education centers that teach traditional arts, forestry, and farming techniques. By 2011, ACT's goal is to double the number of rainforest acres mapped and managed from 40 million to 80 million acres. ACT plans for its indigenous partners to eventually maintain field offices and training centers independently. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Plotkin and Liliana Madrigal. Thank you. Michael Eckhart, American Council on Renewable Energy. Michael Eckhart first understood the promise of renewable energy in the 1970s when he carried out pioneering energy studies under funding from the Carter White House. After years in business, he worked in India and Africa on solar energy. In 2001, Michael and colleagues founded the American Council on Renewable Energy, ACOR, to establish an all-renewable organization for the United States. His volunteer role soon grew into a full-time commitment. ACOR's goal is to ensure that 25% of U.S. energy needs are met from renewable sources by 2025. ACOR catalyzes change through membership, working groups, partnerships, and conferences. By 2011, it plans to increase membership from 500 to 1,000 organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Eckhart. Connie Duckworth, Arzu. Connie Duckworth made history as the first female sales and trading partner at Goldman Sachs & Company. A longtime women's advocate, she visited Afghanistan and was shocked by the hardships the women faced. In 2004, she founded Arzu to provide sustainable livelihoods for Afghan women engaged in rug weaving. Arzu weavers receive basic health care and above-market compensation for their rugs. In exchange, they must send all their children under 15 to school full-time, and all women in their home must attend literacy classes. Arzu now supports 700 weavers and aids more than 2,100 individuals through its core program. By 2011, Arzu plans to double the population it assists. Ladies and gentlemen, Connie Duckworth. Jeremy Hockenstein and Mai Sirifongpan, Digital Divide Data. On a 2001 vacation, Jeremy Hockenstein was struck by Cambodia's juxtaposition of extreme poverty with emerging technology. He created Digital Divide Data to break Southeast Asia's cycle of poverty by providing high-quality technology services to the global market. Mai Sirifongpan recognized the potential of digital divide data and brought her social entrepreneurial savvy to the team in 2003. Founded upon an innovative and sustainable fair trade outsourcing model, Digital Divide Data offers above-market wages and educational benefits to disadvantaged employees, equipping them for better futures. Growing rapidly, with $14 million in increased wages and having impacted 7,000 people already, Digital Divide Data is shaping a new core of leaders empowered to participate fully in their country's development. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Hockenstein and Mai Siri Fong Pan. Jenny Brown, Half the Sky Foundation. I'm sorry, Jenny Bowen, pardon me, Half the Sky Foundation. Jenny Bowen learned firsthand the devastating effects of institutionalization of children when she and her husband, Richard, adopted a toddler from a Chinese orphanage. Almost 2, the child could not walk or talk and was emotionally vacant. In time, her new family's loving attention enabled the daughter to blossom, and the idea for Half the Sky was born. Half the Sky provides family-like nurturing care for thousands of orphaned children in 38 state-run orphanages across China. In 2007, the organization was invited by the Chinese government to expand its model to 300 institutions and beyond. Half the Sky's long-term strategy is for local governments in China to operate these life-changing programs themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, Jenny Bowen. Matt Flannery and Premal Shah, Kiva. After seeing firsthand in East Africa how a small loan could change the life of an entrepreneur in the developing world, Matt and Jessica Flannery co-founded Kiva.org in 2005 to enable individuals to loan as little as $25 to emerging businesses. Matt quit his job at TiVo to work full-time as Kiva's CEO, and Premal Shah, a product manager at PayPal, joined Kiva as its president to help scale the idea. In its first 3 years, over 148,000 internet lenders made $25 million in loans to 33,000 entrepreneurs in 40 developing countries. Kiva aims to scale to 1 million internet lenders and over $100 million in loans by 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Flannery and Premal Shah. Mitch Besser and Jean Falk, Mothers to Mothers. While pediatric AIDS has virtually been eliminated in the developed world, in sub-Saharan Africa, hundreds of thousands of babies are needlessly infected with HIV each year. To confront this tragedy, longtime friends Mitch Besser, a doctor and medical researcher, and Jean Falk, a media executive and AIDS activist, developed Mothers to Mothers, a grassroots program for under-resourced healthcare systems. Mothers to Mothers trains and employs new mothers with HIV to provide education and support to their peers, empowering them to access life-saving treatment for their babies and themselves. Currently operating in 160 locations in 4 countries, by 2011, Mothers to Mothers aims to support over 3.6 million women and children in more than 11 nations. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Besser and Jean Falk. Paul Farmer, Partners in Health. When Paul Farmer founded Partners in Health in 1987, he wanted to prove that cost-effective, high-quality health care could be delivered in the most challenging contexts. Believing that health care is a fundamental human right that can be effectively delivered through community-based healthcare systems, Paul and his team developed a powerful model, tested and proved first in Haiti. So effective was Partners in Health and its accompagneur methodology that it went on to change World Health Organization policy. Over the past 5 years, the program has grown from 60,000 patient visits to 1.7 million. Partners in Health now operates in 10 countries worldwide and will continue to expand into the most difficult and resource-deprived countries in the years ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Farmer. Daniel Lubetsky, Peaceworks Foundation. The son of a Jewish immigrant and a Holocaust survivor, Daniel Lubetsky began advocating and fostering entrepreneurial joint ventures between Arabs and Israelis in 1989 to bring stability to the Middle East through economic cooperation. He then founded the Peaceworks Foundation in 2002 to encourage political moderates to build a new movement to unite for peace in the Middle East. The Foundation's One Voice movement reframes the debate into one that positions the vast majority, composed of moderates from both sides, against violent extremism. One Voice has trained 3,100 Palestinian and Israeli youth leaders and recruited more than 650,000 signatories to demand immediate and uninterrupted negotiations toward the conclusion of a peace agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Lubetsky. Michai Viravaidya, the Population and Community Development Association. As a young economist working for the government in Thailand, Michai Viravaidya saw a link between rapid population growth and poverty. He launched the Population and Community Development Association in 1974 to distribute contraceptives and introduce sex education in rural communities and schools. By 2005, the population growth rate had dropped from 3.2% to 0.5%. During the 1990s, PDA's aggressive campaign reduced new HIV cases by 90%. In its next generation of innovative work, the organization is enlisting private partners in over 450 village development partnership programs that will enable the poor to generate income and sustain their communities without having to migrate to cities. By 2011, PDA plans to expand the partnership program to at least 100 more villages. Ladies and gentlemen, Michai Viravaidya. Cecilia Flores Obanda, the Visayan Forum Foundation. As a child in the Philippines, Cecilia Flores Obanda helped her family survive by selling fish and scavenging garbage. As freedom fighters against the Marcos dictatorship, she and her husband were imprisoned for 4 years and separated from their oldest son. Their 2 other children were born in detention. After democracy prevailed, Cecilia founded the Visayan Forum Foundation in 1991 to eliminate human trafficking through public-private partnerships, including the powerful transportation industry among its allies. They rescue, protect, and reintegrate victims. The organization has served 18,500 victims and potential victims to date and has filed 66 legal cases on behalf of 166 complainants. By 2011, Visayan Forum Foundation plans to expand its multi-sectoral networks to defeat human trafficking where it is most entrenched. Ladies and gentlemen, Cecilia Flores Obanda.